Hello and welcome to Heady Remarks. Today is November 21st, 2021. I'm doing this on my own, and I'm also not live streaming it, which is kind of cool, actually. I kind of like this. But anyway, yeah, because YouTube gave me 1 week. It was my fault, but 1 week suspension. And I thought maybe that would mean that, we only stream every week anyway. So I thought, maybe after 7 or after 8 when I got that email, or I don't know, something. I thought it would be exactly a week later. It wouldn't let me, whatever. So it's fine. And I had nothing prepared at all. I was kind of bummed out, honestly. And I don't know. Last night I watched The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. And that made me think about demonic possession. I don't know if I believe it's possible. I don't know if I believe in it or not. I mean, I guess I have to believe it's possible. Anything's possible. I don't know. Archie. So let's get into it, I guess. I've kind of looked into it a bit in the past already anyway. So, in news right now, unrelated. Waukesha, Wisconsin, there's someone who drove an SUV through a Christmas parade and there's like multiple deaths. And that sucks. I think it was a black guy. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, there's a picture of him, but I shouldn't say anything else. Who knows what the motivations were? It's just that it's kind of near Kenosha. That's another one. Kyle Rittenhouse got not guilty, which is a big deal. I was glad to hear that. All meanwhile of this, sorry, this has nothing to do with demonic possession, but Ghislaine Maxwell, her trial's going on right now. And her judge looks like her. It's weird. I'm like, are you related? Have we checked into this? Archie. It's being cute. Okay, so you know the movie The Exorcist, which I love? Stop it. I cannot show any clips of anything. That's the rule tonight. It's all reading. I don't know. Maybe I'll show some old Sally, Jesse, Raphael, because the Warrens were on there. Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're played by those actors. They're actually good actors. But the real people, I don't know if they were shysters or what. Oh, they seem ridiculous a little bit in real life. The stories are just a little hard to believe. So anyway, Ronald Hunkeler. Hunkeler. I can share this though, right? The Exorcism of Ronald Hunkeler. Cottage City, Maryland. Rather than residing at the 3210 Bunker Hill Road address, investigator Opsasnik, sorry, I just ate, has assembled a compelling case to suggest that the real residence of the boy possessed was 3807 40th Avenue in Cottage City, Maryland. The address was changed from 41 Central Avenue, Cottage. So they always have to change addresses because people try to go there, but whatever. What the hell? Why is my phone restarting? I didn't tell you to do that. That's weird. Archie, stop it. Ronald Edwin Hunkeler, I don't know how to say it, was born June 1st, 1935 to an evangelical Lutheran mother and a non-practicing Catholic father. a German-speaking grandmother that was also a non-practicing Catholic also lived in the home. So this is German family. German. In fall of 1947, that girl, Anneliese Michel, was German too. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of like possession stories where the people weren't German, but in fall of 1947, Hunkeler was confirmed to be at Bladensburg Junior High. On January 26, 1949, Ronald's aunt, called Aunt Tilly in the diary, but called Harriet in other sources, who had a deep interest in spiritualism and had introduced Roland. Roland? Are you saying Roland instead of Ronald? God damn it. To the Ouija board, died of multiple sclerosis at the age of 54. He was removed in the middle of his 8th grade year in January 1949 and re-enrolled in the 8th grade at Bladensburg Junior High for the 1949 to 1950 school year. From the fall of 1950 until June 1954, he attended Gonzaga High School in Washington, D.C. The identity of Ronald Edwin Hunkeler was confirmed by T. Weston Scott Jr., a Cottage City resident since 1919 and a lifelong member of the Cottage City Colmar Manor Fire Department, having served as a local fire chief for over 20 years. Scott stated, "The boy involved was Ronald Edwin Hunkeler, and he lived at 3807 40th Avenue. I knew the boy, but I didn't know too much about what was going on, to be frank. We kept it quiet at the time, and later on there was a lot of stuff about it. The Hunkelers lived there since the 30s, and they stayed in that house for about 20 years. I think most of the older neighbors who were around at the time knew about it. Most of them are gone now, though. Don't put your bum in the camera." One of Ronald Edwin Hunkeler's contemporaries and neighborhood friends submitted himself to an interview with Apsasnik to discuss the case under the grant of anonymity. There's some grammar problems. JC, as he is referred to by Apsasnik, stated, "No, I don't think he was ever possessed. I think it was psychological. As far as any real possession or anything like that, I don't think so. There are some interesting psychological aspects to it. They were German Lutherans, and he was an only child, and I think the grandmother is actually the central figure. She played a very influential role in all of this." You had this old world religion superstition, and the mother got caught up in it, and the father just kind of stayed in the background. I think he could see what was going on, which is why he is never mentioned. The true story is much more intriguing from a psychological point of view. The basis of the real thing could be a damn good story. No doubt about it, in my mind. The rest of it I can run a parallel. You had these two mischief makers that had a strong tendency to take advantage of people who were weaker than themselves. They were a pair of connivers, and they had their act down. In pairs like that, they compete with each other, and they don't get along well, and they have to keep doing something to retain their relationship. And all the time, this is mischief in one form or another. They were trying to outdo each other. Ha! JC's brother, called BC in the interview, was for many years the best friend of Ronald Edwin Hunkeler. In discussions with BC, Ronald Edwin Hunkeler was described as being submerged in a household with a fanatically religious mother and grandmother that embraced spiritualism. Hunkeler was hated by his classmates and prone to tantrums. He frequently showed violent tendencies and exhibited sadistic behavior to animals and people around him. In short, many of the traits used to describe the possessed boy had been a fundamental part of his character. JC summed up Hunkeler's personality with, "People asked what he was like back then, and I can tell you that he was never what you would call a normal child. He was an only child and kind of spoiled, and he was a mean bastard. We were together all the time, and we used to fight all the time." JC did recall Hunkeler's last day in class during 1948 to 1949 school year. "We were in a class together at Bladensburg Junior High. He was sitting in a chair, and it was one of those deals with one arm attached, and it looked like he was shaking the desk. The desk was shaking and vibrating extremely fast, and I remember the teacher yelling at him to stop it, and I remember he kind of yelled, "I'm not doing it!" And they took him out of class, and that was the last I ever saw of him in school. The desk certainly did not move around the room like that book, Possessed, said. There's a book called Possessed. It was just shaking. I don't know if he was doing it or what was doing it, but I just can't clear it in my mind. JC summarized Hunkeler's character with his own story about life with Hunkeler. There was this dog that ran around the neighborhood at that time. It was half red Cocker Spaniel, and it looked like it was half chow. This dog was mean, and nobody ever knew who owned it. It just came out of nowhere. Well, Ron basically adopted that dog. That dog was really his best friend, not me. That dog hated everyone and everything and would bite anyone in sight, but he loved Ron. Ron would feed it and bring it in the house with him. One time he called me up and told me to come over, and I never really trusted him because he was sneaky and a real mean little bastard. I was going over there, and he was looking out from the basement window, and when I got to his house, I heard the back porch door slam, and I knew right away what he'd done. He'd done this sort of thing many times before to different kids. I started running like hell because he'd sixed that dog on me. When I got home, he called me up and was laughing like hell. That's what kind of person he was. He did that all the time. Okay. Ronald Edwin Hunkeler was admitted to Georgetown University Hospital under his real name on the morning of Monday, February 28, 1949, and released at 12 noon on Thursday, March 3rd, 1949. The first exorcist. Father Edward Albert Hughes, according to various reports, he died in 1980, was the first priest to attempt an exorcism on Ronald Edwin Hunkeler. The claim is that after an initial session with the boy, Hughes had the boy sent to Georgetown University Hospital, where 3 days of exorcisms were performed, and that Hughes was injured in the process. However, Opsasnik suggests there is no evidence to suggest Hughes ever visited Hunkeler in his cottage city home or at Georgetown University Hospital. Instead, there seems evidence to suggest Mrs. Hunkeler took her son to a single consultation in February 1949 with Hughes at St. James Church in Mount Rainier, Maryland, where he was assigned as assistant pastor. There is also no evidence to suggest that Hughes was ever attacked. On the other hand, Father William Saunders, writing for the Catholic Herald in 1998, asserts firmly that Hughes did conduct the exorcism at the Georgetown University Hospital. Hughes' assistant pastor, Frank Bober, confirmed that most likely it was Mrs. Hunkeler that initiated the interest of the clergy. According to Bober, Father Hughes never went to the boy's home. Basically, it was the mother that brought the kid to the rectory, and the thing is, she's the one who gave Father Hughes all the information. This kind of reminds me of Munchausen by proxy. Everything that I know of that he shared with me took place in the rectory, not at the house. Bober also stated that Father Hughes had described the Hunkeler boy as having a dark stare, almost as if there were nothing behind the eyes. Oh, like Michael Myers, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Bober further claimed that Hughes experienced an unseen force pressing him against the wall. Okay. In an effort to clarify the events surrounding the exorcisms back in 1949, one of the few witnesses willing to go on record was Father Walter Halloran, who was called by Father William Bodern to assist in the exorcism. When asked if Hunkeler was possessed, Halloran said, "I can't go on record. I never made an absolute statement about the things because I didn't feel I was qualified. I hadn't studied the phenomena and that sort of thing. All I did was report the things that I saw, and whether I would make a statement one way or another wouldn't make any difference." When questioned about reports of the boy speaking other languages, Halloran stated, "Just Latin. I think he mimicked us." Halloran said there were no demonic changes in the boy's voice, and that when the boy struck him, it wasn't with extraordinary strength. It was not with extraordinary strength. As far as other extraordinary events that were reported, Halloran noted only two. He said, "I saw a bottle slide from a dresser across the room. There was no one near it. The bed moving. It was on rollers like any bed, but I was leaning on it when it moved one time. While there was spitting, it was not overly unusual. There also was no vomiting or urinating. While Halloran did see markings on the boy's skin, there were no ascertainable letters or symbols. So yeah, anyway, Reagan is supposed to be based on this true event. Who was a boy, not a girl. But yeah. While a number of the events are detailed in the diary excerpt included above, there's like dates. A dripping noise was heard in his this is like January 15th, 1949. A dripping noise was heard in his grandmother's bedroom by the boy and his grandmother. Well, now I don't trust the grandmother. Or the mother. Trust these bitches. I'm just kidding. A picture of Christ on the wall shook and scratching noises were heard under the floorboards. Scratching heard every night from 7 p.m. until midnight for 10 days. This was attributed to a rodent at the time. So this is before the aunt died. January 26th, 1949. Aunt Tilly / Harriet dies of multiple sclerosis in St. Louis. Waves of air reportedly strike the grandmother. Ooh, waves of air. Someone's got like an airsoft gun. 3 knocks are heard on the door. Mrs. Hunkeler asks, if you are Harriet, tell me positively by knocking 4 times. 4 knocks are heard. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't make fun, but come on. Scratchings on Hunkeler's mattress. January 28th, 1949. After 3 days of silence, nighttime squeaking shoes in Hunkeler's bed heard for 6 nights. February 17th, 1949. Hunkeler spends the night with Lutheran minister Scholes. Is that the one? Yeah, that is the one I wanted to read about. Because he says some crazy shit. Reportedly, Scholes heard scratching noises and witnessed bed vibrations, a chair in which Hunkeler sat tipping over, and the movements of a pallet of blankets. Okay, I could have sworn I pulled this up. This is supposed to be the diary? The actual 1949 diary of the priest who inspired the 1970 film. Is he going to have the same name? Just said Scholes. That name's not in here. Did he stay at more than one? I want to see where he talks about bringing him home. An orange and a pear flew across the entire room where R was standing. R must be Ronald. Sometimes they call him Roland. I want to see where... Sorry, I just, wait, did I see it? What the hell? Why is it mentioning Linda Blair from The Exorcist here? Huh? What the hell is this? Damn it. I thought I had pulled it up. I wanted, like, the diary where... It says Scholes here. Yeah, Reverend Scholes arranged to have the boy spend the night in his home so he could observe him. The boy slept in a separate bed next to Scholes' bed. Reverend Scholes says he too heard the scratchings coming from his walls. He witnessed household objects moving about the room and a heavy chair that tilted on its own and then toppled over. If I remember correctly, Ronald was sitting in the chair when that happened. He could be playing tricks, you know? He recalls how blankets that the boy covered up with moved about the room of their own accord. He also described at one point the boy getting like pulled under his bed because it was like his mattress was getting pulled underneath the priest guy's bed. Reverend. The boy was scared, confused, and caught up in something he did not understand. Okay, I want to find his Reverend diary. Spent the night. I want when he spent the night there because there's like more specific things. Yeah, this might be it. Okay. So after a few weeks, Robbie's parents were convinced that an evil spirit was behind the disturbances and appealed to their Lutheran minister, Luther Scholes, for help. Scholes tried praying with Robbie and his parents in their home. And then with Robbie alone in his home, he led prayers for Robbie in church. Reverend Scholes ordered whatever was possessing the boy to leave him in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, but the affliction continued. The boy was tormented by the weird noises and movements of objects day and night, with the result that he was unable to sleep. In February, Schultz offered to let Robbie spend a night in his house, to which his parents agreed. That night, Mrs. Schultz went to a guest room while Robbie and the Reverend retired to twin four-poster beds in the master bedroom. Sometime after they had said goodnight, Schultz heard Robbie's bed creaking. He grasped the bed and felt it vibrating rapidly. Robbie himself was wide awake, but lying absolutely still. Schultz suggested that Robbie try to sleep in an armchair, while he kept an eye on him from his bed. Before long, the heavy chair began to move. First, it scooted backwards several inches. Schultz suggested that Robbie raise his legs to add his full weight to the chair, but that was not enough to stop it from continuing until it had slammed into the wall. The chair then began to turn as if in slow motion until it had deposited the boy unhurt on the floor. Schultz noticed that Robbie appeared to be in a trance and made no effort to move out of the chair, even though it had been moving slowly enough for him to have done so. How old is he here? Okay, I'll find out in a minute. After this night, Schultz was able to persuade Robbie's parents to have him tested in a mental health clinic. From February 28th to March 3rd, he was in Georgetown Medical Hospital, where he underwent medical and psychological evaluation. He began to act wildly, and according to some reports, the message, "Go to St. Louis," appeared scratched on his skin in blood-red letters. That sounds like sensationalism. I believe it just said St. Louis or something like that. That's a lot of letters. Robbie's mother thought he would benefit from a trip. He and his parents took a train to St. Louis, where they stayed with relatives. Family feelings about how to address Robbie's problems were divided among religious lines, Lutheran and Catholic. The Jesuits were consulted. Father Raymond J. Bishop came to the house to bless Robbie, but quickly saw that the situation was far worse than diabolical infestation. The troubling presence of demons. Bishop consulted Father William Bodern. Bodern also saw the gravity of Robbie's condition. With Bishop, he went to Archbishop Joseph E. Ritter and requested an exorcism. The request was granted. Robbie's exorcism began on March 16th at the home of his relatives on Roanoke Drive. Hold on. So how old is he? 13. Okay. More and more, Robbie acted like someone suffering from full demonic possession. He began to cough up phlegm and to drool in a steady stream. Why do I not believe this? And more painful, bloody welts and scratches mysteriously appeared on his body. He cursed, vomited, spit, urinated, and made physical attacks on the exorcist, exhibiting amazing strength. See, this is saying things are true that the other one was saying are not true. placed in a room in the security ward. So he's taken on March 21st to Alexian Brothers Hospital and placed in a security ward, and the exorcism is resumed in tight secrecy over the course of several weeks. It is not known how many people participated. Among the witnesses were Father William Van Roo and Father Charles O'Hara. Also present at various times were hospital staff and seminarians, among them Walter Halloran, whose help Bodern had requested. On April 1st, Robbie was taken to the St. Francis Xavier Church, now no longer in existence, to be baptized into the Catholic Church, a move that Bodern thought would help the progress. However, Robbie went berserk on the way to the church, and Bodern decided not to let him enter, lest he desecrate the premises. The boy was taken to the rectory instead, despite his vomiting of blood and mucus. What? I don't believe this! Oh, damn it. Bishop recorded details of the exorcism in a diary. Although the church was intended for the case to be made public, never intended, word soon got out. Schultz leaked details of a poltergeist disturbance using the Doe's real name. Okay, because it was like John Doe, whatever. Soon the exorcism made its way into the media. William Peter Blatty was a student at Georgetown University in Washington in August 1949. Packages. When he read an Associated Press account of the case in the Washington Post, he began to look into the story and soon made himself as thoroughly familiar with it as current sources, many now known to be in error, would allow. When Blatty turned to writing his best-selling novel, really good book, by the way, I like it, creepy, 20 years later, moreover, he changed so many details and added so much new material that the actual case was doubly obscured. The Exorcist was published in 1971 and was made into a film directed by William Friedkin and released in 1973. Blatty wrote the screenplay. During the filming, I don't want to get into that bullshit. It's stupid. I don't know. I still wish I could find the other thing because it was like even more detailed. Like more. Just that night that he spent at the priest's house was the especially weirdest stories. Okay, so there's that. So, wait, do they think the exorcism worked or what? What the heck? This says Father Bodern read the novena prayer of St. Francis Xavier and then blessed R, that's Ronald, with the relic, a piece of bone from the forearm of St. Francis Xavier. They're holding on to pieces like bone fragments from saints? It's kind of weird. I mean, I guess why not? I don't know. There was no shaking of the mattress or scratching at this time. Oh, sorry. I just don't know if I believe in this shit. I had a dream once that I became possessed. I was like in the middle of like a big argument with my mom. And I just got so stressed out and like started like violently convulsing in my dream. And I seemed to think I don't know why. My interpretation was that it was a dream about that. It was more like a seizure, though. It was kind of both, I guess. Participated in a game of Monopoly. So he's like doing normal stuff. It said that he would behave normally during the day and then start going crazy at night. I was going to try and talk about other cases, too. You know, like the true story that movie was based on. Catholic Church conducts first exorcism rites and fails. Meet me in St. Louis. Just kidding. And then they go to St. Louis. Exorcisms prove to be futile. The last rite, the exorcism at Alexian Brothers Hospital. In mid-April, the rite was moved back to the Alexian Brothers Hospital. The final exorcism was conducted in the psychiatric wing of the hospital. April 18th, 1949, the day after Easter Sunday, the priests placed rosaries and religious medallions around Ronald's neck and forced a crucifix in his hand. In response, Ronald shrieked, "He has to say one more word, one little word. I mean, one big word. He'll never say it. I am always in him. I may not have much power always, but I am in him. He will never say that word." The response was so great, it took 5 men to hold the boy down. Prove it! Sorry, I just have trouble. Around 10:45 p.m., Ronald Hunkeler became deathly still. Then in a clear, booming voice, he shouted, "Satan! Satan! I am St. Michael, and I command you, Satan, and the other evil spirits to leave the body in the name of God immediately. Now! Now! Now!" Okay, sorry, I was supposed to be yelling. 7 minutes later, Ronald awoke and smiled. When asked what he had just seen, he described seeing a vision of Satan and 10 of his helpers engaged in a fiery battle with St. Michael the Archangel. He recalled how just before the battle ended, the angel turned to look at the boy and said, Dominus, the Latin word for Lord. Robbie Mannheim. That's another fake name he's gone by. Ronald Hunkeler, a.k.a. Robbie Mannheim. The priest reported him as a fine young man and noted that his parents converted to Catholicism shortly after the exorcism. The Catholic Church kept close tabs on Ronald afterward. He graduated from Gonzaga High School. Sorry, my mouth doesn't like that word. I want to say like Gonzaga, but it's Gonzaga. And went on to get a degree in chemical engineering and a second degree in psychology. He married in 1970 and had 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. He reportedly named his first son Michael after the angel that saved his life. Ronald went on to work at NASA in Greenbelt, Maryland, where he retired in 2000. July 27, 1964 article with his picture appeared in NASA's Goddard Space Center newsletter under a profile of Ronnie. Ronald Hunkeler is now believed to be living in Howard County, Maryland. At the time of this writing, Ronald Hunkeler is 80 years old. He has never publicly spoken of the event nor allowed press interviews. Close friends and others who learned his real identity are surprised, saying he never spoke of the event. Weird. Father Bodern was said to have fasted during the duration of the ordeal. Over the course of a few weeks, he lost 30 to 40 pounds, shrinking to a remnant of the man he was when the exorcisms began. To the day he died, Father Halloran insisted the possession was real. He once told William Peter Blatty, "The case in which I was involved was the real thing. I had no doubt about it then, and I have no doubt about it now." Well, shit, now I'm starting to believe it. A cold and drafty house is not paranormal activity, people. God, I hate that. Sorry, I was just reading something stupid. This is the article that William Peter Blatty saw that made him want to write it. He used to work for the CIA, I believe. I think it's the author. Hope I'm not confusing him with the director of the movie, Friedkin. They're both named William. Priest frees Mount Rainier boy reported held in devil's grip. August 20th, 1949. Latin phrases, I don't know. A language he had never studied. Whenever the priest reached the climactic point of the ritual, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, I cast the devil out. In complete devotion to his task, the priest stayed with the boy over a period of 2 months. during which he personally witnessed such manifestations as the bed in which the boy was sleeping suddenly moving across the room. See, it's weird how they don't include these details. I seem to remember it was going under the bed, but maybe it was also moving. Or actually, no, because he had him lay on the ground. It was a whole long thing. The bed was moving, and then he put him on the ground on like a sleep, like blankets, something. And then he started like getting pulled under the bed, under the priest's bed. I don't know. It's just weird. That's why I wish I could have found that. But it was like a whole longer, like that whole night. I'm like, are these tricks? Is he playing tricks? Pallet on which the sleeping boy lay slid slowly across the floor until the boy's head bumped against a bed, awakening him. In another instance, reported by a Protestant minister, a heavy armchair in which the boy was sitting. Yeah, we already. A priest here voiced the belief that it was probably the first casting out of the devil through the ritual in at least a century of Catholic activities here, and perhaps in the entire history of the church in this area. The boy was taken to Georgetown University Hospital, where his affliction was exhaustively studied, and to St. Louis University, both are Jesuit institutions. Finally, both Catholic hospitals, said the priest, reported they were unable to cure the boy through natural means. Only then, said a priest here, was a supernatural cure sought. The ritual was undertaken by a St. Louis priest, a Jesuit in his 50s, who devoted himself to the task through prayers and fasting. The ritual began in St. Louis, continued here, and finally ended in St. Louis. For 2 months, the priest stayed with the boy, accompanying him back and forth on the train, sleeping in the same house, and sometimes in the same room with him. Even through the ritual of exorcism, the boy was by no means cured readily. Repeatedly, each time the ritual was performed, the final violent reaction would come from the boy when the words were spoken, "I cast thee out." A reaction of profanity and screaming, and the astounding use of Latin phrases the priest was reported as saying. In one manifestation, the boy reported that he had seen a vision of St. Michael casting out the devil. Finally, at the last performance of the ritual, the boy was quiet. Since then, it was reported all manifestations have ceased. Well, isn't that nice? I guess that's the end of that. Sorry. I don't know why I'm laughing at this, but I'm going to share it. This picture just made me laugh. Sorry. Oh my God, what's going on? Okay, I can't look at that anymore. I was trying to look up pictures of Arne Johnson. Okay. That's from the movie, and this is the real guy, I guess. Yeah, that's the movie I watched last night. But it's The Devil Made Me Do It. The Trial of Arne. Is it Arne or Arne? Shit. Cheyenne Johnson. Yeah, I heard about this. It was a thing where he was around an exorcism of a young boy who was 11 years old, David Glatzel. And then, supposedly the demon, went into this guy who was engaged to the 11-year-old sister. And then he went and looked into a well. I don't know if it possessed him right away or not, because he said that he went to a well on the property and looked down into the well, and the demon came out of the well and got him. And they actually used that as their defense in a court of law. They lost, but I think he got convicted of manslaughter, which is weird. First-degree manslaughter for the killing of his landlord, Alan Bono. It's the first known court case in the United States in which the defense sought to prove innocence based upon the defendant's claim of demonic possession and denial of personal responsibility for the crime. November 24th, 1981, in Brookfield, Connecticut, Arne Cheyenne Johnson was convicted of first-degree manslaughter. for the killing of, I already read. According to testimony by the Glatzel family, 11-year-old David Glatzel allegedly had played host to a demon. After witnessing a number of increasingly ominous occurrences involving David, the family, exhausted and terrified, decided to enlist the aid of Ed and Lorraine Warren in a last-ditch effort to cure David. The Glatzel family, along with the Warrens, then proceeded to have multiple priests petition the church to have a formal exorcism performed on David. The process continued for several days, concluding when, according to those present, a demon fled the child's body and took up residence within Arne. Now I want to say Arne, because it sounds more like a normal name. I'm sorry. These events were documented, A-R-N-E. These events were documented in the book The Devil in Connecticut by Gerald Brittle. Several months later, Arne killed his landlord during a party. I feel like I remember reading that he was drunk or something, but I'll shut up till I'm sure. His defense lawyer argued in court that he was possessed, but the judge ruled that such a defense could never be proven and was therefore infeasible in a court of law. Arne was subsequently convicted, though he served only 5 years of a 10 to 20-year sentence. Interesting. The trial attracted media attention from around the world and has obtained a level of notoriety due to numerous depictions of the events in literature and television. The story was later made into a film adaptation titled The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Did It in 2021. What's he doing with his feet? That's him right there. Huh. Killed your landlord, huh? I don't know why all these unrelated pictures. Oh, they're comparing him to him. I don't know. So, you know Ed and Lorraine Warren? They're weird, right? I went to the mountains yesterday and it was beautiful. I kind of wish I could just show pictures of it because it was really beautiful. You see? Do you see? Windmills. I saw horses. That one looks old in front there. And then this one looks younger. And then there's like even littler ones. Oh my God. Spanish Fork Canyon. Fifth Water Hot Springs. That's where I went. It's a short one. Isn't this better than talking about demons? I mean, I'm still interested in it, but it was a 2.5 mile hike. I'm so sore today. I knew I was going to be coming down. I was like, holy hell, my legs are dead. I love Utah. I wanted to show the mud. When you get closer to the springs, the water starts to get muddy. And there's a lot of weird stuff, like really, really green foliage. Like, I don't know, just and the water starts to look different as you get closer to the hot springs. So cool. Oh my God. And sitting in there, it was so hot. Like we had to warn people, like, next to that rock, underneath that big rock, it's really hot. And like you get like these wafts that come out and you're like, like trying to push it. I kept thinking of Dante's Peak, of course, because there's a scene where it's like people are sitting in a hot spring and then they're like, like it opens up and fire comes out and boils them alive. That's so cool. Very beautiful. I was just like in awe. I've been there before, but there's like these weird rocks with weird like bubbly looking stuff. Not quite. Okay, so nude bathers at springs. I didn't see any. Nudity is naturally. Okay. Nudity is beauty. Nudity does not equal sex. 420. Let's go, Brandon. That was a bridge I walked across. That's where the water starts looking weird. It's like opaque, a little milky, a little frothy. That's from the spring. It started smelling like sulfur. That's this little waterfall. Like right at the top of them, I guess. But yeah, these white rocks. I don't know. It was like a strange coloring to the stuff nearby. Look at these little bubbles on the rock. You see what I'm talking about? Weird, like bloop, bloop, bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. These people were German, I think. They sounded like it. Her and him. Okay, anyway. It's their lives. Their personal lives, I guess I shouldn't. Just people, you know? Just people there. Having fun. Having a good time. It's a lovely place. And then I just filmed a lot of me just walking back down. Stalking this guy up ahead. Just kidding. I did trip and fall in front of a couple guys who were behind me. And then at another point, there was some guy in some weird outfit, like almost like, I don't know, like a long black weird outfit. Like buttoned all the way down. Like snuck up right behind me. He like stomped hard on the ground. I was like wondering if he did that to get my attention or what. And I was like, let him go by. And wasn't murdered. You get here by water. Slosh it around. I had like a big jug that you can carry. That's all I really took for the most part was just water. That's the one thing you want to take. This is so unrelated. But it's so cool. Look at the bubbles. The weird bubbles on the rocks. I hope I shared the audio. That's the best part. I don't have anyone watching to tell me. 52 minutes. I was trying to see where else I could stream from, like Odyssey or Gab. I don't think I can stream from Odyssey yet because we have to have like 21 credits. I think we have like 16 or 17. Whatever, I don't really understand it. And then Gab TV, you can only upload videos. I even did like Gab Pro. You have to pay for like the more expensive one. Right? I don't know. I don't know if I know what I'm talking about. I'm confusing it with Rumble because Rumble is like $25 a month to just live stream from there. It just sucks. The whole thing sucks. I don't know. It's so beautiful. I was so tired. 2.5 miles up and 2.5 back, and then I had to walk up the road to my car because it was hard to find somewhere to park. The parking lot was totally full. Don't you feel like you're there? It's just crazy. Some of the structures around you are so massive. It's just like, I'm going to pause it and make sure I shared audio because it's really stupid otherwise. Can't really trust myself to remember to do that. I remember one story of that possessed kid was also that his arm at one point supposedly rotated completely in a circle in a way that shouldn't be possible with your joints and stuff, which, you know, in the movie, they changed it to her head. She would clearly be dead, you know, her head spinning in a circle like that. It's kind of silly. Her bone would be disconnected from it, you know, but everything else is pretty unbelievable as well. I guess I would just have to see it for myself. I'm sorry. I would have to see it. It's too hard to believe it. But it's still interesting. Look at that. It's so weird. Oh, that one was a video. I like the water. I just like the way it sounds. Wow. That one's a good one. Google stylized that for me. Wow. That might be my favorite one right there. Ridiculously beautiful. It was so colorful, the reds and the greens and the purples. It's magnificent. Almost hard to believe. Definitely worth getting really tired and sore over. It's amazing. Absolutely fucking amazing. I can't say it enough. Look at that. And here, kids. Wow. That'd be cool in slow motion. Shit. 59 minutes. I think the Gab videos have to be under 2 hours. I don't get it. I don't get all the rules. This one's jerky. I don't know why I was like doing that with the camera. 1 hour. All right. Rocks. I don't know. Maybe this is boring. Okay, well, just to clean up, finish up, whatever. I don't know. Ed and Lorraine were involved in the Amityville horror. We have an episode about that called what's it called? Damn it. It's called something Adu. Madness for Two. Folie Adu. Madness for Two. We did an episode about that. They got involved there. They got involved in the Enfield poltergeist, another one that's accused of being a hoax. Arne Johnson. Snedeker House and the Smurl family. Did I mention that Lou Taylor is involved in the Travis Scott concert shit? She was his merch company, Cactus Jack. She's like his manager. Okay, so that's a big deal because she's the lady who got Britney Spears into her whole conservatorship nonsense mess. Like she's an evil person. She's not a good person. She's the person who did that to Britney Spears, went behind her back and conspired and like tempted all her family members to like conspire against Britney for money, basically. And that's on them for falling for it. That's on their conscience. But she's the catalyst. Anyway, she's his manager. And the week after a week leading up to the concert, she was totally in charge of that. I saw on Twitter someone go, she was 1,000% involved in Astroworld. So that's kind of interesting because there were two people. Maybe the two people were her. I don't know if she's like considered the festival director and the executive producer, Michael Rapino from Live Nation. That's what I'm supposing. I'll correct myself if I find out I'm wrong, but I believe I've found the culprits. Aside from the fact that the singer guy, whatever, Travis Scott, could have stopped it himself. Damn it. Now I got to figure out how to edit this. Okay, I should stop. Anyway, the Enfield poltergeist. The Conjuring 2 was about the Enfield poltergeist. And then I also brought up this thing about Cindy James, which is not related to demon possession. I guess I'll have to save that for another episode, but it's a crazy story. I always sort of have that on the back burner anytime I want to talk about something. But, okay, sorry. So this was like half and half, just about one thing or the other. How beautiful Utah is and demon possession cases. A couple of them. Okay, I'm going to stop now. headyremarks@gmail.com. I created a Gab account called Heady Remarks. We're on Rumble under Heady Remarks. We're on BitChute under Heady Remarks. We're on Odyssey under Heady Remarks. There's too many of them. But yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye.